In December of 2007, Kenya descended into chaos. A disputed election ignited a firestorm of violence that left over 1,200 people dead, 600,000 displaced, and a nation scarred by ethnic hatred. At the heart of this tragedy were two men, William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, political rivals accused of orchestrating the bloodshed. They faced the world's highest court, the International Criminal Court, in a case that promised justice for the victims. But justice, it seems, had other plans. This is the story of how two of Kenya's most powerful figures walked away from the gravest charges imaginable, and how the pursuit of truth crumbled under the weight of power, interference, and betrayal. Welcome to the second episode of The Untouchables. It all began with an election. On the 27th of December 2007, Kenyans went to the polls to choose their next president. The race pitted Emilio Mwai Kibaki, a Kikuyu, against Raila Odinga, a Luo, in a contest that exposed Kenya's deep ethnic divides. Early results suggested Odinga was in the lead. Hope surged among his supporters. But then, something shifted. On the 30th of December, the Electoral Commission of Kenya declared Kibaki the winner amid allegations of vote rigging.
This means Honorable Mwai Kibaki is the winner. The Commission therefore declares Honorable Mwai Kibaki as the President of Kenya.
Odinga's camp cried foul, and the streets erupted. What started as political outrage spiraled into ethnic warfare. Kikuyu communities, seen as Kibaki loyalists, were targeted by Kalenjin and Luo militias. In retaliation, Kikuyu gangs struck back. Homes burned, families fled. In the Rift Valley, churches became slaughterhouses. One horrific incident saw dozens burned alive as they sought refuge. By the time the violence subsided in early 2008, Kenya was a nation in ruins. Amid the chaos, two names emerged as key players. William Ruto, a fiery Kalenjin leader and Odinga ally, was a rising star in the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM. On the other side stood Uhuru Kenyatta, the son of Kenya's founding president, a Kikuyu elite backing Kibaki's Party of National Unity, PNU. They were rivals, locked in a bitter struggle for power, but soon the world will accuse them of something far darker, masterminding the violence that tore their country apart. The international community demanded accountability. Kenya's own courts faltered, too corrupt, too compromised to deliver justice. In the year 2010, the International Criminal Court stepped in. The ICC, based in The Hague, was designed to prosecute the world's worst crimes when nations couldn't or wouldn't, and they had their sights set on Ruto and Kenyatta. In March of 2010, ICC prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo launched an investigation into Kenya's post-election violence. After months of digging, he dropped a bombshell. On the 15th of December 2010, he named 6 suspects, Kenya's Big Six, accused of crimes against humanity. Among them were Ruto and Kenyatta, alongside 4 others, Henry Kosgei, Francis Muthaura, Mohammed Hussein Ali, and Joshua Arap Sang, a radio host. The charges were staggering. Ruto and Sang, his alleged mouthpiece, were accused of orchestrating attacks on Kikuyu communities in the Rift Valley, murder, deportation, persecution. Prosecutors claimed Ruto had spent 18 months planning the violence, arming Kalenjin militias, to go to war for Odinga's victory. Kenyatta, meanwhile, was accused of funding and directing the Mungiki, a Kikuyu criminal gang, to launch reprisal attacks against ODM supporters. Both men denied everything, but the evidence was mounting. In March of 2011, the ICC issued summons. Remarkably, all 6 suspects appeared voluntarily in The Hague, a rare move for such high-profile figures. Kenyatta, the then Deputy Prime Minister, and Ruto, a suspended Education Minister, stood before the world defiant. The pre-trial hearings began, and on the 23rd of January 2012, the ICC confirmed the charges against 4 of them: Ruto, Kenyatta, Sang, and Muthaura. Kosgei and Ali were off the hook, but the spotlight tightened on the remaining quartet. For the victims, this was a glimmer of hope. For Ruto and Kenyatta, it was a political earthquake. But here is where the story takes a wild turn. These 2 men, once bitter enemies, were about to rewrite their fates and Kenya's future. In the year 2013, Kenya faced another election. Ruto and Kenyatta, still under ICC scrutiny, shocked the nation by joining forces. The Kalenjin warrior and the Kikuyu prince formed the Jubilee Alliance, running as deputy president and president, respectively. Their campaign wasn't just about power, it was a middle finger to the ICC. They framed the charges as a Western conspiracy, rallying supporters with a message of defiance. We will beat The Hague, and we will beat Odinga. And beat they did. In March of 2013, Kenyatta won the presidency with 50.07% of the vote, barely enough to avoid a runoff. Ruto became his deputy. Suddenly, the ICC wasn't just chasing 2 politicians, it was up against a sitting head of state and his second in command. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Kenya's government launched a full-scale assault on the ICC. They lobbied the African Union, claiming the court was hunting Africans based on race. In September of 2013, Kenya's parliament voted to withdraw from the ICC, though it wouldn't affect ongoing cases. The pressure was relentless, and cracks in the prosecution's armor began to show. Back in The Hague, the case was unraveling. Witnesses started disappearing. Some recanted their testimony. Others vanished entirely. Rumors swirled of bribery, intimidation, even murder. ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda, who took over from Moreno Ocampo, accused Kenya of stonewalling, refusing to hand over phone records, financial data, anything that could nail Ruto or Kenyatta. The prosecution was bleeding out, and the defense knew it. First to fall was Kenyatta's case. By December of 2014, the evidence was in tatters. Key witnesses had pulled out, allegedly bribed or threatened. Bensouda admitted defeat, saying the Kenyan government's refusal to cooperate left her with no choice. On the 5th of December 2014, the charges against President Uhuru Kenyatta were withdrawn. He declared himself vindicated, but victims' advocates called it a betrayal. Ruto's trial limped on. It began in September of 2013 with Sang by his side. The prosecution painted a chilling picture: Ruto as a warlord, Sang as his propagandist, broadcasting hate on Kass FM to incite Kalenjin mobs. But the witnesses kept dropping. By the year 2016, 16 of the 42 slated to testify had stopped cooperating. Some claimed they'd been hunted down. Others simply went silent. In February of 2016, the ICC barred the use of recanted testimony, a fatal blow. On the 5th of April 2016, the ICC threw out Ruto and Sang's case. The judges didn't acquit them. There wasn't enough evidence to convict or clear them. Instead, they called it a mistrial, citing a troubling incidence of witness interference and intolerable political meddling. Ruto hailed it as proof of his innocence. His supporters danced in the streets of Eldoret. It was the end of a decade-long nightmare with no closure. The ICC's Kenya experiment was over. No convictions, no reparations. The court later charged 3 Kenyans, Walter Barasa, Paul Gisheru, and Philip Bett, with witness tampering, but it was too little, too late. In the year 2023, the ICC officially closed its Kenya investigation, leaving a legacy of failure. What happened next? Ruto and Kenyatta didn't just survive, they thrived. Their Jubilee alliance held power until the year 2022, when Ruto ran for president himself. Kenyatta backed Raila Odinga instead, splitting their once unbreakable pact, but Ruto's momentum was unstoppable. In August of 2022, he won, becoming Kenya's 5th president. The ICC shadow? A distant memory. For the victims, though the wounds remain raw. Over 1,200 dead, 600,000 displaced, countless sexually assaulted or maimed, and no one held accountable. Human rights groups point fingers at Kenya's elite, accusing them of shielding the powerful. The ICC, once a beacon of hope, now stands as a cautionary tale, proof that justice bends when power pushes back. William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta walked away untouchable, not because they were proven innocent, but because the system broke. Was it witness tampering, political sabotage, or simply the limits of international law? The truth may never surface, but one thing is clear: in Kenya, power doesn't just corrupt, it conquers. Thank you for watching The Untouchables. If this story moved you, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with the world. Tell us in the comments, did Ruto and Kenyatta outsmart justice? Or did justice fail Kenya? Stay tuned for more untold stories. My name is Yusuf. Until next time, stay blessed and keep seeking the truth.